Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers.
Better.
It's not that hard.
You get the microphone right there.
Well, yeah.
I don't.
It's called good broadcasting.
No one wants that.
Yeah. Don't do that. That's just bad. All right. So, as you can tell, people, we are welcoming back Paul Storrie from his trip to Cincinnati, Ohio, where he spent time at a comic convention this past weekend.
I did.
How about giving us an update on that? How was the con?
The con was good. Most people, they were taking COVID precautions pretty seriously. Most people were very diligent in their mask wearing. Oh shoot! I wait 1 second. Because the most important thing that happened, I met Felicia Day.
Very nice.
She complimented my hair.
Nice.
Yeah. So yes, it was a very good. It was a very good show. Attendance was actually pretty solid. I thought sales were good. Generally, people seem fairly upbeat. I've only done one other con this year, which was the Dayton Comic Con down in Ohio, which was before Delta got going, so there were less precautions and stuff going on at the time. But it was a really good time. Felicia Day, as you might expect, even more charming in person.
Mm-hmm. Not surprised.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Who else did you run into at the show?
I spent a lot of time with Tom Zoller, Jay Fosgett, Dan Doherty, Kaylin Smith. We're all around. Let's see. I'm going to be probably irritating the heck out of people that I'm going to forget. Was seated across from John Beatty and Mike Zack. Although I didn't talk to Mike, I did talk to John very briefly, mostly because my booth was a pathway into a kind of tent area that the guests could go into just to kind of get away and decompress and go in and eat if they, there's a green room, but if people just wanted to kind of like go and have a snack or something and not be like, while the guests are there or while the con-goers are there, it was kind of nice. Yeah, a lot of good people. Sorry, everybody, I'm drawing a blank because I'm a writer. Pop Go the Writers. Yep.
I will tell you my brief Felicia Day story. Mutual friend of ours named Richard Madden, who is no longer with us, sadly, reached out to me one day and said, "You've got a table for Comic-Con, right?" And this was back when I was sharing a booth with Tone and I'm drawing a blank on his name, but another writer that we would share a table in the red section. And
what did he write?
I'm not remembering that either. It's been a lot of years.
Yeah. Okay, so you and Tone and other writer.
Right. And Richard said, well, there's this woman who does this YouTube show, and she's looking for a booth to set up for one day to do a signing. Would you talk to her and see if it could work out? I'm like, yeah. So I get this call from Felicia Day, and we're chatting, and I'm like, okay, well, I've got to reach out to the two guys I'm sharing the booth with, but I'll text you, I'll email you back as soon as I find out. And I reached out to Tone, and he was not having it.
Really?
He was not. Yep, he was, because at that point she wasn't famous yet. She was the Guild. You know, so we would have had basically the cast of the Guild, at our booth for a couple hours, like on Saturday. And Tone's like, "No, that's prime time. I want to be there at that time." So, yep. So probably could have known Felicia Day a lot better had that happened. Not so much. Thank you, Tone.
That's it. Yep. Well, I sort of understand, but by the same token, it's like you had a fan base even then, and could have brought attention to your stuff. So it's it's always hard. It's always hard to know with that kind of thing. So
just as easily she could have been. I mean, it could have been just faded away. So you never know.
You never do.
Yep,
you never do.
So, you got anything else going on this week? How's the store going?
Store's chugging along. I have to go out of town. Not I have to. I shouldn't say it like that, but I'm going out of town again next weekend. Because one of my nieces is getting married, and so I'm working weird hours at the store, which is, although nobody would know this otherwise, but I'm just glad that when you got in touch with me and said, "Okay, Paul, you ready for the show?" I was like, "Wait, what day is it?" Because it's been very, very odd. But things are going all right at the store. I'm happy to be going down to visit with my Florida family, even if it has to be in Florida, and actually get to meet my 1.25-year-old grandnephew, the bride's older sister, and has a kid that I have not met yet, because of COVID.
Yep.
So
well, while you were gone last week, Mr. Goggin filled in.
Yep.
And surprised
Walton Goggins?
Yes, Walton Goggins was on. It was great. We talked about Ant-Man the whole time, how he let me in some secrets about him returning in Quantum Mania. It's going to be great. I was a little surprised because Andrew wanted to start with a rebuttal to something I had said the previous week. He came on and did about 15 minutes defending Malignant.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard more people are in your camp than his camp.
Oh yeah, we have a large, loud camp, and he's over there with the one can of beans feeding everybody he needs to. Yes, it's a small camp, but it's it was an intriguing conversation.
One of my best buddies who is a big fan of bad horror movies was like, well, now I know to avoid James Wan horror movies. He was not at all. I mean, and he's watched some really bad horror movies, and this was just
From what I understand, his other horror movies are good.
Yeah,
he was just trying to do this kind of homage, and it came out more like fromage.
Hey, that you're using my joke now.
Absolutely. So we did that, and then we talked about the Hawkeye trailer, which I assume you've seen.
I have. Boy, am I looking forward to that show now. Not I wasn't, but
but it did kind of. Just about everybody I know suddenly went, "Oh yeah, that looks great," but it's like Die Hard in the MCU.
Yeah. Well, I think didn't we talk about it a little after my last episode, when after the show, and it was like, what if Shane Black wrote? It's like it has a very Shane Black feel to it.
Yeah.
did not write Die Hard, but does set almost all his movies at Christmas,
Which has
with
always
the
been
notable
weird.
exception of Monster Squad.
Ah, I was like, wait, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang had some Christmas scenes in it, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So did The Last Boy Scout, Iron Man 3, my absolute personal favorite, The Long Kiss Goodnight. So,
yeah, he's done a couple movies.
yep.
Yeah.
And I enjoy most.
Yeah. And have you noticed the
Yeah.
the utter juggernaut that has been Shang Chi at the box office?
I have been watching that and going, well deserved. I have not been back to see it again, which disappoints me.
I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
Because my girlfriend's son is a much better movie picker than her daughter. Yeah. And so, yeah, we went to that. It's kind of funny. One Saturday, I'm up there for her birthday, and we see that movie. And then the next Saturday, I'm up there for his birthday, and we see Shang-Chi. And then this Saturday, I didn't have anything. I just stayed home and relaxed. And then next Saturday, I'm back up the hill for her nephew's birthday. But he's only 5, so it's not a movie. They want to do a costume party.
Wow.
So I'm thinking I'm going as Fat Thor.
Do you have the sweater for it?
I have the robe that like he wears.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with that. And also, I went ahead and got the fingerless wool gloves that he wears.
Ah, very nice.
So, and I've when the hair's out, it's pretty long. I think I can pull it off with
Yeah.
I don't think I need a pillow or anything, so I should be fine.
Do you have? I didn't say it. You did. Do you have a pair of prescription sunglasses that you can wear?
I do. They're in the truck, so I am all set.
Yep.
So,
well done.
Yep. And we're not telling each other, my girlfriend and I, we're not telling each other what costumes we have.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting.
But what if she watches the show, Dan?
She doesn't.
Oh shoot! I forgot. Somebody at Cincy was talking about. Oh shoot! Can't remember his name. I'm working with this group, and they do all these video casts and all this stuff, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, the XP, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, I get rebroadcast on the XP every week. Like, oh shoot, that's gonna bug me now that I'm blanking on who I was talking with. Oh well.
Yep.
See, brought it all together, brought it all back around.
Yeah. Ironically, I got one of the owners of the XP, or the people that put it together, reached out to me the other day, and they're like, we've got a Facebook page. Would you be willing to do like a post a day just to kind of interact with the fans and stuff, just engagement? I'm like, I can, but what type of stuff do you want? And she immediately went to, your Friday Connerys. I'm like, okay, so my Friday Connery and my Monday Canes, which I never meant to start doing.
You need a Wednesday.
I do need a Wednesday. Yeah.
Maybe Wednesday Brosnan, or you need somebody who just has done a crap. Ooh, Wednesday Cage.
Oh God, I know, because I have to at least have some level of respect.
Hey, the guy got nominated for an Oscar. Did he win? I don't think
so
he
did
won.
So did Marissa Tomei for My Cousin Vinny, and she won.
Yes. Well, That's because wasn't he was better.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have you could get Danny Pudi on to do his Nicolas Cage or Simon Hedberg to do a you should watch Dan's Wednesday posts.
That's surprising.
I'm a sexy cat.
Okay, never do that again. Never do that.
You ever see that's a line from episode of Community where Danny Pudi's character Abed spends all night watching the entire oeuvre of Nicolas Cage, trying to figure out if it's a good actor or a bad actor.
Yeah.
And it breaks it.
I might end up doing an American actor because I got 2 Brits.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Perhaps an actress.
Could be an actress. I thought about doing Helen Mirren. Would be a
there
good
you go.
choice. But that's British again, but don't even go there. All right, we should probably get to our conversations here. Let's kick it off with, you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but Star Wars Visions dropped.
Right.
And it's 10 episodes, and they dropped them all at once, which surprised me because I thought they would string it out, especially, again, with the fact that we're coming up to this blank 5 weeks with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that they would at least put something out, but nope, they dropped all 10. And I only had a chance to watch 3, and partly it's had the third one been really compelling, I probably would have watched more. But I was getting to the end of the third one, and I'm like, no, I'm done for now. I'll watch them later, and then I just haven't gotten back to them yet.
Yeah.
But the 3 I saw, the first... What?
Oh, it seemed like I was getting a big echo.
No. The first one was called The Duel, and it looks like classic Japanese art.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not really anime, but more like you would see like a Japanese drawing or a Japanese painting.
Like a woodcut.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but done with like brush and it's just classic Japanese art style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very Akira Kurosawa homage. You know, it's the drifter in town when the rebels come in, or not the rebels, but the bandits come in and try to run roughshod over. And the only color, you get black and white through all of it, except red lightsabers.
Ah.
Yeah, and it all makes sense. And kyber crystals are important, and it's really an interesting story. But it almost felt like an episode of The Mandalorian, which again reminds me how much The Mandalorian is really embracing the inspirational material that Lucas had.
Right.
And where a lot of the newer stuff isn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The second episode was more, it had a musical theme to it about a band actually trying to play in the galaxy. Not Max Rebo's band, but another band.
Oh, so there wasn't a jizz band.
A what?
A jizz band. Like they played in the cantina.
It wasn't the band from the cantina.
Right,
Or,
but that's you.
From
Did you
Jabba's
not?
Palace.
Did you not know that that's the style of music that they played?
I did not, and it sounded real dirty when you said it.
What can I say? It's spelled Jizz.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. We can just move right on past that. No, it's more of a rock band.
Okay.
This whole episode reminded me oddly of the Gorillaz. You know, the animated band?
Yes, I figured.
Okay.
Figured you didn't just mean In the Mist.
David says Mandalorian was more Star Wars than Star Wars. I absolutely agree, David. I am more into the Mandalorian than I have any of the last 3 movies. So, and Brian says the Ninth Jedi and the Elder were my favorites. I'm hearing great about the Ninth Jedi. I have not seen either of those. Like I said, I've only seen 3 so far. Really loved the duel. I thought the
0.
I thought the second one, I can't remember the title of it right now, was entertaining. And then there was one called The Twins, and that was just not good. To me, it wasn't good. And it's the type of manga or anime that I'd be like, I can't get into this. You know? So
Somebody
good.
I was going to say somebody should do a Star Wars version of the Bill Murray's Lounge Singer from Saturday Night Live.
Wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't mind seeing a Star Wars What If series. I think that could be fun. But like I said, the first one was really great, and it really got me into it. And then the second one's like, okay, this was entertaining. I'll stick around for another one. And the third one's like, no, I'm tapping out here. I'll come back later.
Yep.
So,
but like on the old game shows, pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to step out on this one here. This one's not very good. But again, the duel, if you watch any of them, definitely watch the duel.
Okay.
And take Brian's recommendation. Like I said, I've heard the Ninth Jedi is really good as well. I haven't heard about the Elder yet, but I will definitely check those. I'm going to watch all 10 of them. I mean, 10 to 20 minute cartoons. It's not that big a deal.
They did not do a lot of promotion for these, at least not where I saw.
No.
I think somebody at the con said something about, Star Wars Visions. I was like, what?
Well, I think part of the problem is that when they're on these streaming services, where are they advertising? You know, when you're on a network, you advertise on that network and you bring in other people you bring in people from the other shows. It's like Doom Patrol season 3 is out now on HBO Max, and season 3 of Titans has been running. And I've heard a little bit about both, but I haven't watched either one of them. I still haven't watched Doom Patrol season 2, and I loved the first season.
Yeah, I want to watch Titan. I don't, because as I was talking to somebody at the store and we were going back and forth, we weren't really sure why we liked Titan. It's got Dick Grayson in it. Yeah, like I love the cast. I don't love the show so much, but I love the cast. So
it's like Alan Ritchson is Hawk. I think is great.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward even more to him playing Jack Reacher in the new Jack Reacher series.
Yep. That one was such a perfect. When they said that, I was like, oh, that I can see.
Yeah. David says Visions is wonderful too. Makes me critical of how much I enjoyed Bad Batch.
Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. No such thing as a guilty pleasure. You enjoyed it, David? Own that. I enjoyed it too. We can't all be cranky like Dan.
It was better than Malignant.
Oh, that is damning with faint praise there.
So, yeah, I like I like the idea of the Visions. I just please more live action. Financially, it's obviously a factor. Yeah, I mean they can turn these things out pretty quickly, which is nice. And it's like right now all we've got is the animated stuff with What If and Visions and Bad Batch. It's been a long time since we had any live. It's been since the end of December is when we got the last Mandalorian episode.
Yeah.
Yep. Better than Cry Macho. Still better film than Twilight.
Let's face it, the Mandalorian is a better romance than Twilight.
Yes. I haven't seen Cry Macho. I haven't seen Twilight other than I think part of it when flipping channels one day, and there was a scene where everybody was running at each other, and I didn't know why. But still, I think those were probably better than Malignant.
So I actually had to Well, I didn't have to. I considered it important to. I watched Twilight and read the first novel when I was working on the My Boyfriend is a Monster series of graphic novels, because they were supposed to be sort of like teenage paranormal romance comedies.
Yeah, it's always good when you have that many different genres pushed together. Always works out really well.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, David says Star Wars makes us all gluttons. True. Good Star Wars makes us all gluttons. When we get something like The Mandalorian, we want more and more and more. I guess there's a special Boba Fett episode coming up before the Book of Boba Fett. They were talking about that. I think we're going to get that in sometime in November around what they're calling
the short story of Boba Fett.
The prequel. Prologue. But they were talking about, I guess there's going to be a Disney Plus day in November where they'll announce a bunch of their stuff. And I think it's going to come around that. They're going to have like a single episode of Boba Fett. But I don't remember too much about that. But also the trailer and a couple clips for The Witcher Season 2 hit.
Ooh, I missed that.
Yeah. Netflix had their day yesterday where they released trailers for The Witcher Season 2, for Stranger Things Season 4, the Extinction movie number 2, the second Extinction movie with Chris Hemsworth. Extraction, you're right, Extraction. Yeah. Also the Mark Millar's follow-up to the one that got canceled real quick.
So
Jupiter's Legacy, the follow-up for Jupiter's Legacy.
Right. Could be. I don't know what because Jupiter's Requiem is just in stores now.
It's a different era. It's about the bad guys.
Yeah, but that's...
Yeah, but that's going to be animated, it turns out.
Oh.
Yeah. Didn't know that was going to be animated. The trailer's like animated. I'm like, didn't think that was going to be animated. Or this quick. But
did you see opening for Cowboy Bebop?
I've seen some footage of it, but I don't know if I've seen the opening.
Okay, it's just the opening credit sequence.
Oh.
So the get everybody in the stuff together. Let's jam. 4, 3, 2. I
know nothing about Cowboy Bebop.
Really?
Really?
When I was out in LA, the Hurricane Gang, Hurricane Entertainment, Jan Otstino, Bill O'Neill, Joshua Dysart, and Tone Rodriguez, the aforementioned Tone Rodriguez, all were like huge Bebop fans. And they were like, oh, it was on Adult Swim, and they're showing it to me, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Without me realizing, I just thought it was some old, like I thought it was from the 80s or 90s, not realizing, no, it was coming out right then on US TV.
Ah, okay.
But it's got sort of a similar vibe to Firefly in that they're really just operating in the solar system. Firefly is not in our solar system, but in Cowboy Bebop, they're operating in the solar system. Visiting moons and stuff, but it's that sort of. It's got a little bit of a Western feel, in terms of elements, although.
Akira and Cowboy Bebop are anime perfections. Okay.
Yeah.
I can get that.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you didn't know Cowboy Bebop, you wouldn't really appreciate the opening credits.
Bobby says it was ridiculous and seemed faithful.
I guess, yeah. I didn't think it was. I don't know what what's ridiculous about it? It just seemed fairly faithful to the opening sequence from the anime to me. But
Yeah. By the way, this is going to pop back here. David says Twilight is fan base on 50 Shades of Grey, quite fascinating to research. Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey was originally started as Twilight fan fiction.
Yeah.
So,
and then she realized she could make money.
Yeah. Nick Cage is a favorite of mine, seeing Pig. I have not seen Pig yet, but I hear really good about it. To me, the most popular fan fiction to ever go mainstream would be Outlander. You know, because that was originally written.
The Sean Connery movie?
No, that's Outland.
Oh.
Outlander, the huge Stars series about the woman who travels back to Scotland and stuff like that. Well, the writer, Diana Gabaldon, wanted to write a book, felt she needed to write one, get it out of her system, and then write her real book. So she decided, while sitting in a bar, watching an old episode of Doctor Who with the second Doctor and Jamie, to base her main character is Jamie from the companion from that era, as this woman from the 50s goes back to that time, falls in love through time travel, and that book ends up becoming a hit. And she's written 5 or 6 off of it now, but it started basically as Doctor Who. Yeah,
that's hilarious. Well, I was going to say she originally sold it to a romance publishing house.
Yeah,
because time travel romance is a thing, and and now she's like, it's not romance. And it's like, kind of is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, with the worst female lead ever, who constantly changes her minds and gets people killed. But
although I really like the lady who plays her in the.
Oh yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But the first time I ever, when I first was introduced to this, I was invited to a friend's house for a viewing party about halfway through the first season. And it was myself, the woman who invited me, her husband, and about 30 women. All probably anywhere from late 20s to early 50s, just a huge age range. And we're sitting there, we're watching this particular scene, and I noticed that there's this buzz of energy in the room. Like all these people are waiting for a scene to come up. They know something's coming that they're really excited about. And the scene that they're excited about is a scene where Jamie has to punish the woman and spank her. Claire. Yeah. He spanks Claire. And all these women were like besides themselves watching this scene. And I'm like, really?
Well, at least I was worried you were going to say, and then it turned out to be the rape episode. I kid, because there are more than one.
Yes.
It is a very, very rapey series.
Yes. Okay, let's get back to
they do spread, they also have the men occasionally get violated. So,
yeah. Yep.
But yeah. Wow.
All right, let's pick up some more of these comments. See, David said, though the creators of Visions do seem to like Star Wars, yet don't know much about it besides the movies and their timelines. That's my point, is that some of these seem very disconnected. And even though the duel was really outside of it, it still kind of fits and was very small, and I could see it working. The twins was so out there, it doesn't work. Yeah, and he says, that slow running looks wild in live action.
I getcha. Yeah. It does. Well, it looked kind of weird in the animation too, and for Cowboy Bebop when Spike is running and he's trying to catch his balance and yeah, it looks very whimsical.
Bobby says, I would have loved the Vision's creators to grow on the mythology and spirituality of the Force. What do you think? I agree with you. I think I was fat. Like I keep going. Like I said, I've only seen 3 of them, but I keep going back to the duel because we have, and this is a little bit spoilers, but we have a character who seems to be collecting certain kyber crystals, taking out certain Force users and taking the crystal from their lightsaber. And I want to know more about that character, this Ronin. I want to know more about him and why. And the fact he carries a red lightsaber means that he's not a good guy. So,
as I understand it, he's got this gauntlet, you see, and he needs these crystals of different colors to fill these sockets on this gauntlet.
Go on, please. Go on. Yeah. And all right, let's see. Bobby says, thank you for the content, by the way. Okay. David says, the storyline in Outlander is so complex and rewarding to watch. I got to tell you, I read the full first book because I walked out of that little viewing party. Somebody handed me a copy of the book saying, you have to read this. So I read it, and I love the character of Jamie. I love the situation he's in. I like Frank. I like the concept of the time travel. But Claire is such a horrible person in that she is constantly changing her mind on where her affection lies. And every time she does it, it costs people their lives. She is not an antagonist. She is a chaotic force of nature. And I just have a hard time with that character. She's just horrible. So,
wow, we've gone far afield this
we have. We absolutely have. But, all right. So we've talked about Star Wars Visions. We've talked about Outlander. We've talked about The Defense of Malignant.
Yes. Ooh,
and we talked about
speaking of Visions.
Yes. So, the latest issue episode of Marvel What If. First thing, I thought that was... I didn't turn that on. Okay. That was interesting. Will you be checking out the Ronin novel?
Oh, I didn't know there was one. Like Hawkeye Ronin.
Oh.
Or
I didn't know.
Hawkeye Ronin, or is there Star Wars?
I mentioned Ronin Star Wars.
Yeah.
David says, the Force was wide open in the first trilogy. Later, Lucas started putting weird limitations on it. And Jedis were the coolest guys ever. Yeah. Yep. It's the writer's thing is that you give it very little in the beginning so that you can play with it later. But when you do something that becomes this popular, people start attaching things to it on their own. And it starts becoming a light. And then when people put expectations on it, and then when you come in and try to rein it in a little bit, fans get upset. So,
yeah, I must admit I was a bigger fan of the Jedi when they weren't quite so. They became very, very superhero-y. You know, I can force jump, and I can, it got kind of over the top, and to the point where I felt like it went beyond the sort of Shambara roots of the Jedi.
Are you saying if it force jumped the shark?
I wasn't, but since you did, okay. You forgot though; it's a space shark.
Yeah. Bobby says the character from the first Star Wars episode is getting a book. It'll be out in October, I believe. Yes, I will absolutely read that. I thought that character was awesome, and if he's getting a novel or I'm in. I am definitely in. Okay, midichlorians. Yeah, you notice they don't even say the word anymore. No, they just refer to it as M count.
Yeah. Midichlorians to get your shirts whiter.
Yeah. Let's see. Bobby says, "What if the MCU made a mediocre animated show?" I don't know if I would say it's mediocre. I think they've had some really good episodes and then some really interesting episodes, but I wouldn't say call them good. I think this latest one
erratic than mediocre.
Yeah, more. Yeah, it's erratic. Yeah, I'll say it's erratic. They're kind of caught with the time crunch. You know, if they did these as an hour episode, but then they'd be much more expensive. But even if they took 10 extra minutes and just expanded the stories a little bit, I think that would have helped a lot because they do seem rushed. My favorite episode is still the Death of the Avengers one with Hank Pym. And yes, it would have been helpful if they would have introduced Hank earlier at any point, if they would have set him up a little bit better to be more of a true mystery. But some of the episodes didn't feel like they were really giving us anything. I didn't think the T'Challa Star-Lord one, even though it was fun, I don't think it really gave us anything. Just like this one, Party Thor, it doesn't really give us anything. But the ending then tells you what all of this is leading to, I think. The fact that Uatu was actually surprised by the vision with the Ultra Vision is what they've been calling him. Ultra Vision with the stones.
Yeah, because Ultron always wanted to be transferred in.
Yeah. So I think if they are building towards this big battle, that's going to somehow involve Ultron drones, Vision as Ultron, and they're going to bring back zombies, then we got to look at the whole season together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We really can't look at it individually if it's all building to something. It's kind of like looking at the MCU at individual episode movies, but also you got to look at the overall story arc. Let's see. Do you think all the episodes of What If take place in the same universe? They do not take place in the same universe. Well, they don't. Yeah, they don't take place in the same multiverse. But I think what's going to happen is Uatu's going to pick and choose from these. Like Doctor Strange is in the evil Doctor Strange or whatever you want to call him is in a dying universe, so you could pull him easily. Party Thor is in the universe that's being attacked. So I could see him pulling these characters for different reasons. But my gut feeling is that with all the gems, it makes Ultra Vision a Nexus being, allowing him to be the same through all of the multiverses, which is the only reason why the stones are working when he comes through, is because he's a Nexus being.
Yeah. That's about right.
Yeah. About right. Yeah. So I think they're going to pull all these characters together. But before we get too much into the ending, we should talk about the show itself, which I thought was a lot of fun. And I don't know if I would have liked it as much if it had been earlier in the series. But because it's coming in after Zombies and Killmonger and the Doctor Strange one, which have all been so heavy, and how many times we got to watch all these people die, to have a comedic episode with all of these, it seems like every time we go into the galaxy, it's just fun, but then of course you're kind of taken off of Taika Waititi and James Gunn, so the moods are going to be different.
I just really liked watching Captain Marvel kick Thor's butt.
It was a bit of a mutual butt kicking, I got to say.
Yeah. Well, as she pointed out, he's like, "Oh, you're not so hot." And she's like, "If I pull out all the stops, I'll incinerate the planet."
Yes. True. But yeah, I thought there was a lot of callbacks to other movies. I mean, characters that popped up. I mean, the Jeff Goldblum. So far, Jeff Goldblum hasn't been in much of anything in this. I mean, I think this is the only one he's been in. So unless he's going to appear in the other ones, he literally came back just to do those little scenes.
Yeah.
Because when like Okoye came back and did like one line in the T'Challa Star-Lord one, it made more sense when she was a huge part of this the zombie episode. Because you have her in to do the big episode and you get her to record the little ones. But if it's somebody like Clancy Brown came back to do the voice of Surtur for one line. Now, he probably did it on his phone and sent it over or something, but still, you know, he came back for one line. Because I don't think Surtur is going to pop up again, do you? Paul?
Yes. You stuttered on my side of things.
I was saying that I don't think Surtur is going to come back. Yeah. So,
I think actually didn't Clancy Brown have more lines in this than he had in the Thor movie?
No, he had lines in the Thor movie.
Yeah, I just said more lines, but it didn't feel like he said a lot. Surtur had a lot to say.
He had the whole story he was telling in the first one to Thor hanging there spinning.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But plus, we got Clancy Brown versus who played Hela?
Who played Hela was Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. Oh, completely off topic, but sticking with Clancy Brown. My Friday Connery was Highlander.
Yes.
And one of the things I found out is in the church scene where he comes in, where the Kurgan comes in, and he says the line, "It's better to burn out than fade away."
Yeah.
That was, of course, ad-libbed. But after that scene, it was filmed in a real church, and priests and nuns were kind of on the sideline during the filming. So Clancy went around to all of them individually after the scene and apologized for his language and saying stuff like that in the house of God.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then he bit their heads off.
Also, it turns out that he was a little excited about working with Sean Connery. So in the scene where he runs in with the sword and takes a swing at Connery, he was supposed to chop the table and instead hit the chandelier and almost hit Connery. It would have, had it not stopped, would have decapitated Connery. And Connery, of course, left the set angry because someone almost killed him. But when he came back, he went to Brown, and Clancy was like all apologetic. And all Connery said is, "It's not a problem. I should probably use my stunt double more often."
Yeah. I assume you were imitating his stunt double.
With the accents you've pulled off on this show?
Well, you did admit my cocaine was pretty good.
I was being nice.
And besides, I was just ripping off Craig Ferguson.
Right.
With his
not cocaine.
Anyway, but yes, we were talking about the all the kind of cameos and stuff.
Yeah.
I was surprised we didn't see Valkyrie.
She was there.
Oh, I didn't.
Not a lot, but she was on the bridge.
Ah, okay.
So she was on the bridge scene, and by the way, I'm seeing some more Star Wars comments there. I will go back to them. So I'm not ignoring your guys' comments, but I want to stay on the what if for now, and then we'll swing back to the comments that are popping up. So, I was. Valkyrie showed up on the bridge. Korg, Meek showed up on the bridge.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved the line when Grandmaster and Topaz were driving away on the little scooters.
We're keeping
we're keeping the scoots.
Scoots, yes.
It's like, again, that was probably a well, I can't say that was ad libbed. It's animation. You can't really ad lib it,
but I could see though Jeffrey Goldblum looking at the script and going, "Oh, we should keep the scoots," and then going, "Quick!"
Yes.
We got Kat Dennings back.
We got Kat Dennings as Darcy the Duck.
Darcy the Duck. Yes.
Yes. Now married to Howard the Duck.
In a different reality.
Did anybody else get bad flashbacks to the George Lucas Howard the Duck movie?
Quack, 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 quack.
Yeah, that was. But we got the Sovereign. We got Loki. I thought Loki was the runt of the family. He wasn't the runt, and that's why Odin gave him back or something?
Well, he was the runt until he, had his growth spurt.
But he didn't have that when living on Asgard?
No. Otherwise, well, keep in mind, it was a different multiverse. Or a different universe in the multiverse. So.
But I find it kind of interesting that the episode was called "What If Thor Was an Only Child?"
And there's Loki the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, does that mean also Hela didn't exist?
Yeah, that was a little odd.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I just see kind of an odd take on that. But I do like the fact
that it was supposed to be before Ragnarok.
Well, yeah.
So.
But the Grandmaster was there, which was part of Ragnarok. So they kind of blurred the lines.
Well, he's one of the elders of the universe.
True.
So, he's been around for a long time.
I really, really want to see more of the elders of the universe.
Yeah.
I want to see Del Toro's Collector interact with Grandmaster. Yeah. I was hoping when there was the word that Russell Crowe was going to play a part. I know now he's Zeus. Yeah. I was hoping he was playing the gardener, and we were going to get Gore the God Butcher slaying the elders of the universe. And then we'd have Jeff Goldblum and Benicio del Toro and stuff. I thought that would have been awesome.
I can't remember if it was in Marvel's Avengers Assemble or if it was in the Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, but they did have interactions between the Grandmaster and the Collector in one of those.
Bobby addresses the Loki thing. Being an ice giant, I think the version we saw in What If is his true form, and he probably shapeshifts in the regular MCU to fit in. Well, yeah, I know that when he touches the casket of Ancient Winters, he turns blue. So that brings out his real side. But then again, his adopted mom was a witch, so she might have done something to give him that human look so he would fit in better.
Told my mom on me. That's kind of not cool, but you cared, so that's cool.
Yeah. I liked how when they were punching around the globe, all the continent or the countries had their name on it as they flew in.
Yeah.
It felt a little Looney Tunes, and at the same time, it's like, we know that most people aren't going to know what country it is, so we better tell them.
Yeah. I rather than Looney Tunes, I thought it felt a little Indiana Jones.
Okay, fair enough. Also a Disney property. Good choice.
I thought that I thought like you did that Frigga was the one that it kind of imposed his Asgardian form on him. Locked him into it, probably.
In the movie, when Odin picked up the baby, he was blue, but while holding him, he changed to the color, the Caucasian.
Yes. And in Norse mythology, Odin is the like father he of magic. He learned about magic, and dispersed it.
Yeah.
So,
but I do find it interesting that you have these huge scenes with all these characters, and at no point do they throw in someone that hasn't been introduced yet.
you mean like just even just in the background to go like, oh, was that? Yeah.
It's like, wait, is that the Silver Surfer? Or, just something like that. But or maybe a lesser cosmic character. Is that Jack of Hearts?
The Troll?
Pip the Troll, Jack of Hearts. Yeah. Or have Drax in his comic accurate costume.
There you go. Yeah, it would have been it because there was a certain amount of, I guess so they're trying to make them recognizable. You threw Drax in his purple outfit and people would have said, who's that supposed to be?
I did find it interesting that we had Ravagers but not Yondu. None of the
Nova Corps in What If, have we? A little bit in the Star-Lord episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been kind of interesting that I know the rule. I mean, basically, they were told not to, but there's some pretty minor space characters they could have thrown in.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have done anything. Like the Living Tribunal in the background or something,
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was pretty interesting. Did you know in the MCU, Ego's considered an elder of the universe?
Yeah. It's odd.
Yeah.
But not to anybody that isn't like old school nerds like us.
Right.
Yeah, they mention him as an elder of the universe, but maybe he's supposed to be the gardener. He certainly looks like him. True,
he could be the gardener easily enough. I thought some of the casting choices were interesting. I mean, I get why Darcy was there because that was the first Thor movie. Is what we're playing off of. But no Eric Selvig.
Although he does get a phone call.
Yeah, we get a phone call. We never get, because in the other ones, like the Iron Man Killmonger one, it seemed like we were kind of moving through Iron Man 2 and stuff a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we never got into Thor 2 at all. There was no Dark Elves. There was no Malekith. There wasn't even in the other apprentice that showed up that Darcy hooked up with. It felt like they very much wanted to stay in Thor 1 and then bring in things from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they spend a lot of time trying to convince us that Dark World was better than it was.
Yeah. I was not a huge fan of World. It just seemed, well, of course, part of it being that was the movie where they went, no, really, Loki's not so bad.
Yeah.
To which I say,
and they wasted Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
Though Alan Taylor, the director of it, has come out and said that there's a lot of extra footage that got cut, and that he wished they would release his cut of the film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody wants to sit through Dark World again, even a director's cut.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have quite the fan following that Zack Snyder.
Right. Now, sometimes I did like the director's cut of Justice League better than it didn't need to be 4 hours long, but I liked it better than the theatrical release. And I think the director's cut of Ben Affleck's Daredevil helped the movie immensely compared to the theatrical release.
Gotcha. Never saw it.
If you get either one or just the director's cut.
I've never seen the director's cut on either one.
If you get a chance to watch the director's cut on Daredevil, it's a much better movie.
Well, it
There's
would
a lot of important. Yeah. Well, it also corrects a lot of mistakes.
Did it get rid of the teeter-totter scene where he's like...
No. Yeah. But it did get rid of the scene where they're on the rooftop, he hears somebody screaming, and he goes and sleeps with her anyway. Yeah, very un-Daredevil-like. Yeah, in the director's cut, he actually goes and helps people. So, Bobby says, it seems like Marvel is playing it safe with What If. Also, like the showrunners had much more radical ideas, but Kevin Feige came in and pulled in the reins. That's possible. From what I understand, the only ones that got rejected, the only idea that got rejected was for a Guardians of the Galaxy story, and it wasn't because it was too outlandish or too far out there, but because it actually came too close to what Gunn has planned for Guardians 3.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I don't know that they're really playing it safe. And I don't think that you will ever. I don't think you run into it where Feige comes in and pulls the reins, because he's right there in the process. From I not no, secret inside knowledge or anything, but I feel like because of the process on the Marvel movies, you're not going to run into where somebody's going like, whoa, because they develop it. The studio team develops it with the writers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because there's always a producer that's attached to each project that is shepherding it, that comes from Feige, so that this person is basically in the brain trust. So it's not like they. Occasionally they have to call and get Feige's permission. Like the story is on Black Widow. The producer had to call Feige and said, David Harbour wants to sing. And Feige's like, he wants to what? He wants to sing this song to Yelena to kind of connect with her. And, he thinks we should then put it in the beginning of the movie and make it connect. And Feige was like, will you still make the day? They're like, yeah, go for it. And that's how the Miss American Pie thing ended up. It was a David Harbour idea while filming. So.
Yeah. Now, Bobby, you are correct. Zach Galifianakis directing Man of Steel 3 would be fantastic. I've personally, and I realize not everybody's like this, I've had it up to about here with Snyder. I'm done. If I never see another Zack Snyder movie, I'll be happy.
I'm good with Zack Snyder. I'm fine with the movies. I liked what he did. So, you want to be Mr. Grumpy? Go right ahead.
Well, I got to take the burden off your shoulders every once in a while.
Yeah.
So, as with Alan Moore, I wonder how much of it is that I'm tired of Snyder and how much of it is I am so sick and tired of the fans. I'm not necessarily saying you, Bobby. I'm just saying in general.
There's this negative fan culture going on right now that overrides, when people go out and post negative reviews on another movie because they think it goes against the movie that they want. That's toxic fandom. And there's a lot of toxic fandom out there. And it's just like people who, you have to like either Marvel or DC. You can't like both. And it's just a bunch of crap. If you like something, like it. If you don't like it, it's all right. Don't like it. Bobby's currently disappointed in What If. I'm enjoying it. I don't dislike Bobby because of that. I'm sure Bobby's still tuning in the show here. So
he must be a person of discriminating tastes.
Yeah, my point being is it doesn't change just because, I know people who love Outlander.
It's got Sean Connery in it. How can you not?
That's Outland. Twice you've gotten that wrong.
Damn. Okay.
So
Outlander is the SUV then.
no, yes, it is. But I hear you. So I'm hardly on social media, so I don't notice the toxicity.
Yeah, well,
That's
good for you.
Good, yes, good for you. Yeah. That's exactly it. Different strokes for different folks. Exactly. If you like something, enjoy it. Good. If you come out of a movie, whether it's Shang Chi or Malignant or anything else, and you come out and you're like, I enjoyed that. I got my money's worth. God bless you. That is awesome. I am happy for you. Because
and keep in mind, what's right for you might not be right for some. Because it takes different strokes to move the world. Okay, for everybody but Dan, Different Strokes was a TV show.
Okay. Oh, I love the mute button. I never even thought of using it before I got Paul on the show.
And then you asked me to be your sidekick. Like...
All right, so the ending, we'll get back to the ending now.
Yes.
With the Watcher being surprised.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It's like, they lived happily ever after. What? Yeah.
Wait, what the?
So, yeah, I think that's the moment that's going to get the Watcher to get involved.
Yeah.
Which...
supposed to know everything.
And I'm kind of, I don't know, I guess part of me wishes it wasn't that case. I kind of liked I've been rereading What Ifs. I've talked to Danny Fingeroth recently about when he worked on it. I talked to Jim Valentino recently about his writing on it. What If was always supposed to be these standalone little stories that were just fun or different or just a spin on it. And they were supposed to exist on their own. They weren't supposed to join together. Only a handful ever carried over to another issue. And that's because it made sense. Like, what if Spider-Man didn't marry Mary Jane led into the next episode being what if Peter Parker hadn't married Mary Jane led into what if Spider-Man married Black Cat. So there was episodes like that, but very few overall. They were these self-contained things. And when the Watcher got involved, it wasn't in episodes of What If, it was in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
In the cosmic series, basically. So having this, it feels like it's too soon. Like it shouldn't have happened until season 2 or something. In a way, it kind of takes away from...
You want that wait what moment at the end of season 1?
No, I want it like halfway through season 2.
Oh, see, I would have been... I could see doing it where you... Because that'd be a good season ender.
It would. It absolutely would.
Yeah, have the Watcher go, wait, what?
See, there's a lot of shows that I think come up with a premise and then they abandon the premise too soon. For example, Dexter. Dexter had such an amazing premise of a serial killer who was hunting killers and bad guys and stuff, and how he was so clever about it. And he did all the, and then by season 2, he started making a lot of mistakes and stuff. Yeah. And then by season 3, he was a wreck, making a bunch of mistakes, and he wasn't the efficient killer anymore. He now was it was just all this drama based off of this other stuff, and you kind of lost the premise. And I've seen that in other shows too, where it starts off very straightforward, and then it kind of takes this turn and goes away from the premise. Mm-hmm. And What If's premise is just looking at the MCU and taking a moment and going, well, what if this happened instead? And the original idea when they pitched it was that each movie in the MCU was going to have a what if episode.
Mm-hmm.
And while they do seem to be doing that somewhat, it's like, was what episode, what MCU movie was the zombie episode to take off on?
Right. It rather than the zombie episode, it was take off on the Marvel Zombies comics.
Right. I mean, it
Yeah.
pulled a little bit from Ant-Man 2. It pulled a little bit from Spider-Man No Way Home, or Spider-Man Homecoming. So it wasn't like they took one movie and went, okay, we're going to do a what if for this movie, which is kind of how it was pitched and what I was really looking forward to. And I'm not saying I'm not happy with what they're doing, but it just seems like they're throwing the premise out very quickly. And the fact that the Watcher is very distant, and each episode he's coming closer and closer and closer and closer, where we can see him more than just a silhouette now. He's a full definition character. So I guess that's my one negative about it, is it just feels like this could have been something they could do on just for fun for a while, but they feel like it has to connect. And I didn't think it was supposed to connect in the beginning either, and now it just feels like it's going to.
Yeah. Expectations can be a painful thing.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the person that comes up to you and goes, "Oh, you got to see this movie," and then the other person says, "You got to see this movie," and by the time the 20th person says you got to see it, you go and you don't like it because the hype, it's overhyped. And I think sort of that happens too when we get one impression of a show, from the hype, and then you look at it and it may be what they planned and not what you planned. It could be those darn marketing departments.
Yeah. Well, it's like I am constantly hearing great about the show Ted Lasso.
Yep.
But I don't have, what is it, Apple Plus it's on? Or
Yeah.
I don't have Apple Plus. And now that I've heard so much about it, it doesn't actually sound like a show that's to my taste. Anyway, but I would have to actually go get Apple Plus just to watch it, and I don't know.
And you're already got a dozen other things waiting in your queue.
Yeah, and I've got Disney Plus, and I've got HBO Max, and Hulu, and
what I did was I signed up for a free week of Apple Plus and burned through the first season. Now I thought I'll watch a couple episodes, and then I just was like, must stream next Ted Lasso, make me feel more human again. I think you would probably enjoy it despite the whole like soccer angle, because it's funny and feel good. And while that may not be, I know for a curmudgeon, that might not be your first priority, but yeah, I thought it was good. I think you might enjoy it. Which you notice I didn't say you have to see it.
Yeah.
That's the one that I want to strangle people. I don't have to do anything.
The show I really would like to watch, but it's on another streaming service I don't have yet, is The Lost Symbol, which is the Dan Brown Da Vinci Code character, Tom Hanks Da Vinci Code character. They're adapting the book The Lost Symbol as a TV series on Peacock. But
everybody's got Peacock. It's free.
There's different levels of Peacock.
And
I don't know which level it's on. So I haven't signed up for Peacock yet because it's called Peacock.
Well,
but I know. It's the symbol. But it's still bad. It's a bad name.
So I can understand why. I watch several things on Peacock. Uh, I
Since
watch
if
I watch Girls Five Eva, about a girl band,
okay,
90s girl band getting back together. And that was way not in my wheelhouse at all, but way better than I thought it would be.
yeah,
But it's like under the aegis of Tina Fey and Robert, whoever did like Kimmy Schmidt and 30 Rock, and
yeah.
they're helming it, right? They're like executive producers. Um, but just I I Sarah Bareilles, who I only know as a musician, does a fine job of acting. I'm fond of Busy Phillips from her turn on Cougar 10, um, and of course Freaks and Geeks. But yeah, and Paula Pell is in there, uh, which is
Well,
she's I and AP Bio season 3 or 4 is on.
since you have Peacock, do me a favor, look to
Yep.
see if the Lost Symbol's on there, then and watchable for free, and then I'll do it. But yeah, if I got to pay for it, I'm just at a point where I don't want to pay for any more of these services. It's like I
Sure.
don't have Paramount Plus,
Yep.
and I'm a Star Trek guy, and I'm not even doing it now.
Yeah. See, and again, Paramount Plus is one of those, or what used to be CBS, was it's definitely one where I'm like, oh, I'm eligible for another, you know, another free preview. It's been long enough for another free preview. I'll burn through Discovery
Oh,
if
okay.
it's at, or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
Probably a little more difficult now that I'm working full time. Well, working another full time.
Yeah. All right, let's go back, finish up with What If. We've got
Yes,
2 episodes left. We're 7 episodes in of 9. Can you believe that?
yeah, it feels like we've only had a couple episodes at this
I know.
point. Um,
Yeah. But
so what are we left? What's left on the schedule? We've got the Guardians of the Multiverse should be the wrap up. Which
well,
is there?
from the footage, we have not met Gamora wearing Thanos' armor
That's true.
and and the Black Widow character that we see in there as well.
Right.
So we've got to meet the two of them, and we got to pull the team together and then have the big battle. But there's a mid-season trailer they did, which involves Party Thor standing next to evil Doctor Strange, going, "Zombies! What a great idea!" And it's like, oh, are they really going to bring the zombies in to fight the Ultrons? Because that's right out of the more recent Secret Wars thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and I'm not a
I
zombie fan. I don't need more zombies.
I never need more zombies.
Yeah.
Like,
We get
when I was pretty much satisfied with I topped off on zombies. Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead was pretty good. I'll give you that.
It was like, hey, there's a good cap to zombies.
Yep.
Somebody's done a humorous takeoff on the Romero zombie. We don't need to see them anymore.
Yeah.
And then I plotted through 4.5 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Which is a survival story.
Sure.
My brother, who doesn't like fantasy, doesn't like sci-fi, doesn't like comic books, loved The Walking Dead. Because to him, it was just a story of a bunch of survivalists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My brother owns 2 pop figures. One is The Godfather, because that's his favorite movie.
Hmm.
And the other is Negan.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Daryl.
No.
Or his other brother, Daryl.
No. Nope, not even Larry.
What? Not even Larry?
Not even Larry. My brother has Negan. You know.
Yeah.
that's his favorite character from The Walking Dead.
Have you considered getting your brother into therapy?
We instead sent him to a small town in Arizona where we keep him away from other people.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I dropped out, I think, just before they introduced Negan. Because, I knew what was coming, and I was like, you know what? Plus, I keeping in mind that the first 4 seasons or whatever of Walking Dead, I was still an unmedicated depressive. And it's like, I just hit a point where, like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah.
This is bleak. So.
All right, let's pop back here. David said, of the whole Star Wars, I deplored Solo. You know what?
I'll fight you on that one.
Yeah, I didn't hate Solo. I kind of liked it.
I thought it was very watchable and very rompy, which I miss from Star Wars.
I would put it above The Last Jedi and the 3 Rens. Is it Ren? Is that her name?
Ren Stimpy, yes. No.
The Ren, Finn, and Poe series.
Yes.
Yeah, I would have put it above that. I will put it this way: when my mom decided she wanted to watch Star Wars, all the movies, my nephew and I sat down and we watched the original trilogy,
the
prequel trilogy, Star Wars, or Solo, Rogue One, 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and told her that was all of them. So, all right. His M count is over 5,000. Yep, that's how they refer to it now. Don't say the midichlorian word. Okay, going back to Bobby's comment. Do you think Qui-Gon will make an appearance in the Kenobi show? Maybe as a Force ghost. Because from what I understand, Qui-Gon is the first one to have figured out how to appear as a Force ghost and returned as a Force ghost to teach Yoda and Kenobi and all of them how to do it. It's not something other than Anakin can do it on his own because he's freaking Anakin. But everybody else, it's a learned process. So I could see him coming back as a Force ghost, making an appearance. And I think fans will want that. So I could see them doing it. I don't think he'll come back a lot, but I think there'll probably be an appearance. And I think Liam Neeson would be up for doing it.
Yeah. Or maybe Ross Marquand could voice it. By the way, it's Rey. Kylo Ren is the bad guy, and Rey.
That's right, Rey. Which just shows you, I met Kylo Ren. See, that's who I was talking about, Kylo Ren.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, the goth whiny kid. Who walked around with no shirt on. Gee, that doesn't happen in Star Wars.
Well, he's a big fan of The Crow.
Okay. Let's hit one other topic before we go. We got a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
The rating came out for Eternals. And it's going to be PG-13, as everybody expected, as all the Marvel movies are. But, when they give the rating, then they give the disclaimers.
Yeah.
Brief violence, violence, One of the disclaimers on this particular movie is brief sexuality. Now, that's never been on any other Marvel movie.
I assume it's for gimpy underwear.
Or a sexual situation. Because because you can have brief nudity in a PG-13 film.
Yeah.
And if it was nudity, they would have said nudity. I'm wondering, and I hate to say this, but I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that there is an open gay couple in it. One of the Eternals is gay. He's in a gay relationship. Or he's in a same-sex marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if there's an affectionate moment between them and the MPAA.
Felt they had to flag that.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's not the case.
Yes.
That we could,
I mean, it's sort of like, I don't know, especially for PG-13, any couple in bed, even if they roll over and start kissing or something, is not really considered. I guess that might be considered PG, but not necessarily PG-13.
Yeah,
but yes, I certainly hope it's not specifically because, oops, we showed a gay couple doing stuff that we would not have flagged it as sexuality if it had been a straight couple.
Yeah, and that's my fear. And the fact that Marvel hasn't come out and said anything and Disney hasn't come out and said anything, maybe because they don't want it to become an issue. But if I was them and that was the case, I'd be going, do you guys really want to do this? It's not going to go well for you.
Yeah.
So that's just my thought on that. I thought that, again, it might be that there's a scene with Cersei and Icarus, or Cersei and Dane Whitman that's a little sexier than, who knows?
Certainly Cersei in the comics is known for being very sexually adventurous.
Right. Or there's the scene where we have Crow holding, kind of binding Thena's arms behind her back, and those two are supposed to be involved. So I could see that turning, if he then starts flirting with her, coming on to her at that point, that might be considered over the top too.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possible.
So, all right, sir, we're going to wrap it up there. Where can folks find you?
You can look for me on Twitter, Instagram, and the Book of Faces at Storyville. You can also find me at storyville.com. Where can people find you, Dan Wickline?
Well, 3 days
Just name
a week.
one.
3 days a week, I am on The Experience doing the Dan Wickline show at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We just had a great interview with Jim Valentino. I also did an episode about the latest Marvel What If. I cover a lot of the similar topics here, but here we have Paul's point of view, and it's more of a back and forth. Where there, I just get a rant on my own, or if I have a guest.
How is Jim, by the way? I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Jim's doing well. He's happy living up in Portland, doing well, and enjoying being, as he said, enjoying being in management. Mm-hmm. He said when you're younger, he likens comics to sports. When you're younger, you're a player. When you get older, you move into management. So he's happy being a publisher, and that's good for him. I like it.
Good.
So, all right. So we will see you guys next week. We'll talk more. Hopefully Paul will get a chance to watch Visions. I'll get to finish it. We'll have that to talk about. And maybe we'll get a chance to go see Venom Let There Be Carnage. Probably won't be until the week after.
Yeah. And I'm not sure I'll be seeing Venom Let There Be Carnage at all. I was not. But I may do it just for the show. Just for you guys.
It's only a 90-minute movie too, so it's not like a long set.
And yes, join us next weekend to find out just how messed up Paul is after flying to Florida for 2 days and then flying back before the show.
Yes, and see how well things went for me as Fat Thor at a kid's birthday party. So, all right, guys, have a great night. We will see you all in a week. Take care.